Sorry about that. Good morning, traders. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to another episode of Market Mornings. I'm your host, Jay Reed. Yeah, man, we got another packed Monday. Another kicking off an exciting week this week, and so we're gonna get right into the rundown for this week. Also make sure you like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, so you know when I go live on whatever platform you're watching. Also, as a disclaimer, this stream is for entertainment and educational purposes only. The information within is not to be considered financial advice. Make sure you consult with an actual financial advisor before you make any financial decisions. Also, you may see some affiliate links. Those are just a good way to support the stream. And there's no pressure on that as well. So yeah, man, like I like to give a snapshot. Let's go to the market here. I give a snapshot here. The S&P 500 is down a little bit this morning, about 0.3%. Nasdaq's down about 0.2%. As we speak. The B500 is down 0.3%. US 10-year is down to 4.42, and crude oil is up. So that's I won't say that's a bad sign, but crude oil is up. So if you're trading crude oil, make sure you go long for the foreseeable future. And also in the news, Bitcoin has hit an all-time high. I think it's at 122,000 this morning. Is it here? Euro, pound, dollar. Let's go to the charts. Bitcoin. Yeah, it's at 122,000. And that's an all-time high. It's up 2.52% over the weekend, I believe. And like I said, I mentioned oil is up. So getting back into the news here, the big items that are talked about, of course, is Bitcoin blast. Bitcoin surpasses 120,000 for the first time ever. Bitcoin breached the 120 mark for the first time. I believe it was late Saturday, early Sunday morning when that happened, with investor enthusiasm showing few signs of dimming as the House of Representatives consider key legislation during the crypto week. So this is crypto week starting Monday. So if you've been following the stream, you know there are several companies that will benefit from crypto, and not only crypto itself. You got companies like Mar, you got companies like Coinbase, Robinhood. They're all this is all good news for them. So crypto is front and center, of major legislation in before Congress right now. So it's up 30% year to date. So that wasn't a bad investment. And after surging on the election, on the election of Donald Trump to his second U.S. presidential term, Bitcoin had settled in a pattern of fluctuating on either side, around 100,000. So it went down a little bit, went up a little bit, but for the most part, it pretty much stayed up. So those are all good signs for the cryptoers. I'm sure they're saying, "Hey, I told you so," and all that good stuff. We also have Japanese long bond extended its sell-off. The yields on Japanese bond from the 10-year to the 40-year spike, with the 40-year yield leading the way, aimed signs of thin liquidity and increasing worries about higher government spending. The pressure in Japan is being heightened by a looming election on July 20th, with concerns over government spending beyond their means. I think that's pretty much every government. So there are some concerns over that, and this means beyond their means, also applying, like I said, it's pretty much every government, UK, Europe, and the US. Government spending is huge, said Amir, yada yada yada, Japan equity strategist. So Japan is feeling the I won't say the hurt, but they're also getting pressure to stop government spending, and government spending does contribute to inflation, so that's probably the major reason around that. What else do we have? We got Trump sending Patriot missiles to Ukraine. It's a big shift in his defense policy. If you know anything about Trump, he was not in favor of arming Ukraine, but that seems to have changed. This could signal a softening stance on global military engagement. We won't listen to that, but we'll just real quick. Donald Trump said the U.S. will send more Patriot air defense batteries to Ukraine in an apparent shift, like I said, to a more confrontational stance toward Russia. And I don't know if this was the big announcement. He did kind of tease that there was going to be a big announcement on Russia today. So I don't know if this is it. But I guess this is a quote. I haven't agreed on a number yet, but they're going to have some. The president told reporters on Sunday on his way back to the White House. We will get them Patriots, which they desperately need. So this announcement sets the scene for Trump would describe to be a major announcement, like I said, a major statement on Russia on Monday as Moscow steps up its airstrikes. So if you've been following Trump, Trump said he was very disappointed in Russia and yada, yada, yada. And Russia responded with, I think, their largest drone strike to date on Ukraine. So he basically said, I'm calling your bluff. So we'll see how that plays out, and we'll stay on top of that and make sure you guys know what's going on with that. EU coordinates trade strategy. So Trump tariff salvos push economies to seek a broadened trade ties. So one could say this is results once again, from the tariffs. So this has the European Union. This says the European Union is stepping up engagement with other countries hit by President Donald Trump, with EU chief trade negotiator Maros Sefcovic saying there's a new sense of urgency. So actually, I take that back. This is maybe pushing. This is a response from the EU to Trump's latest 30% tariff threat. So the global trade alliances are forming. So actually, I take that back. This probably isn't a good sign for the Trump tariffs, because what it seems to be doing is uniting everybody else and leaving us out, like on the outside as kind of isolationists, and which is I guess what they want as far as policy. So the EU is exploring potential coordination with nations including Canada and Japan. This is according to Bloomberg, with European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen speaking, planning to speak to the Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney. So EU officials, including Australian Prime Minister Wolfgang Hattmandorfer, man, these are some long names, and EU competition chief Teresa Libera, support is forming with other nations, as a response to the Trump tariffs, to the U.S. tariffs. So other alliances are forming, it seems, which doesn't give much. I guess it gives a lot of pressure for those alliances to form, but it doesn't, pressure other countries into making a deal with us. So, and like I said, Trump threatens to impose if you didn't know, Trump threatened to impose a 30% tariff on the EU and Mexico as talks continue, and he's given them a August 1st deadline. Trump stated that the tariff rates will be adjusted if countries open their markets to the U.S. and eliminate trade barriers, as noted in his letter. So Ursula sent another letter to her, and she just basically said it will be necessary for the EU to safeguard its interests, meaning doing what they did and what I said they did in the previous article, that they're aligning with other nations. China export reaches record high. So if the goal was to hurt China and hurt their exports, it hasn't worked. China ended the first half of the year with a record trade surplus of about 586 billion after exports to the U.S. began to stabilize. Wang Lingjun, deputy head of customs agency, said China's trade resistance pressure and progress in the first half of the year. China's trade resisted pressure and progress for the first half of the year, but noted that the external environment is becoming more complex, becoming more difficult for them to keep these numbers up. But basically they didn't fold under pressure, according to Eric Zun of Bloomberg Economics. The pickup in China's export growth in June was led by a rebound in shipments to the U.S. after a temporary thaw in the trade war. So I guess initially, there was some downturn in the I guess the trade what was shipped out of China to the U.S., but that quickly changed when I guess America realized there's no other place to make cheap goods and send them over to the U.S. to make ridiculous profits. But that's just my 2 cents. It's also earnings week. If you take a look at the earnings calendar, there's a lot on here. So this is the kickoff for earnings seasons. The S&P 500 is near record highs, but second quarter earnings expectations are soft. Analysts expect 2.5% growth. It's the weakest since mid 2023. And big banks report this week. So you got JPMorgan, Citibank, Wells Fargo, all those guys report. So watch for the trade revenue strength. If you want to, pay attention to their releases, go straight to the trade revenue. Tech is still king. The Magnificent Seven is expected to post plus 14% earnings. So if you're, like I said, tech is king right now. So it's probably a good place to park your money. And the trade, you will also see how the trade war impact may start creeping into revisions. So people may start changing their guidance, basically reducing their numbers, which could hurt the stock. But so far, companies have held strong. So as you can see, there's, probably 40 to 50 companies, were actually probably more than that, probably close to 100 companies reporting this week. So could spell some volatility to the upside, and could be the downside. So that's earnings week kickoff. It's a low bar right now, but it could be a big test for the market. And then let's go to the charts. On the move this morning, of course, we know crypto jumped out to a record high. Actually, it's down a little bit. 100. Everyone's waking up trying to buy it, so of course, it goes down. So crypto jump across the board. Some of the companies that benefited from that will benefit from that is RIOT. RIOT's up 3.5% pre-market. You have Mara. I was in Mara, but I sold it over the weekend. I didn't want to hold it. But Mara's up about 5%. You got HIVE Digital. That is one that I'm in. Hive Digital is moving to the upside of the VWAP. Right now, it's up about 8% pre-market, and then of course you have Coinbase. Coinbase is like in the news as well. They're up pre-market about almost 2%. And you have Synopsys. Hold on, there's something in my keyboard. There we go. Keep you a can of air around. I need to start selling there. It's pretty lucrative. Like $10 for a can of air. That's crazy. Synopsys is up 3%. That's after China approves the ANSYS deal. So Synopsys was one that I mentioned, I think, last week. It's not something that I'm in, but definitely take a look at that. You got WK Kellogg. WK Kellogg is let's see, hold on. WK Kellogg Company is continuing to soar. It's still running after Friday's Ferrero buyout rumors. So I don't know how much it's up, but it's up. You got Tesla. Tesla is up about 0.5%, and this is as must float shareholder vote on the XAI investment. So he's pushing the company to invest in XAI, which could be profitable. I mean, it's they're constantly, I won't say upgrading, but they're constantly moving the ball forward in the AI game. They got a lot of money invested in their planned, I guess you can call it, data center in Memphis. So at some point that's going to pay off, regardless of what you think about Musk. Nurix Therapeutics, we mentioned this last week. It's up plus 31% on strong earnings. These may be old numbers here. Now that I'm looking at it, and some of these are. And Intap Inc. Is up. Actually, it's down. Intap Inc. is down after the Barclays downgrade. So, which fits right into this target. They haven't hit it. Actually, they have hit it. So, with that downgrade, it's probably something you either want to short or sell if you're in that. So, like I said, it's going to be an exciting week this week. You have the US CPI. You got this on Tuesday, the US CPI. The China GDP is released. JPMorgan and BlackRock earnings come out Tuesday. You got the PPI. You got the UK CPI. And then you have Goldman Sachs, MS, and Bank of America earnings. Thursday, you get the retail sell numbers. Also have Netflix, GE, and Pepsi earnings. And Friday, housing data comes out. And you also have Schwab and American Express earnings. So big bank, I guess it's a big bank week. And, also a wild card to watch is Powell. Will Powell get replaced? A lot of people are scared of that, considering what it may do to the market. So there is, concerns that Trump may replace Fed Chair Powell, before his term ends, and if that happens, that may spell disaster for the markets. It could. And another wild card, Deutsche Bank says if it happens, the dollar could drop 3 to 4%. Yields could spike 30 to 40 basis points, which is not good, and the global shock to central bank credibility. So, like I said, if Trump does that, regardless of all the conspiracies around central banks and stuff like that, it's gonna put their credibility in jeopardy. And what that could do is, create a rush to gold and a rush to Bitcoin. which is, I don't know how I feel about that. I feel that gold is a good place to be. And I've just been not on TikTok right now, so it is what it is. But gold, I feel, is a good place to be. Crypto, I don't know how I feel about that. I don't, I like crypto. I'm a crypto guy, but if people start rushing away from central banks to crypto, man, that could be exciting and dangerous at the same time. So yeah, so we're gonna watch that. So I'll keep my ears to the Wall Street, and if you got any comments or anything on that, make sure you drop them in the comment section below. And I guess just a word from Wall Street: risk. Well, first let's go over a few more. I think I have a playbook for this week. What's my playbook this week? It's all the crypto stocks from last week. You have let's go back to the charts. You have VOR. VOR is up a little bit actually it's down a little bit off of close. First Majestic Silver, that's commodities are still the name of the game. We got Agrico Eagle still up. We have Wheaton Precious Metals still up. We have Barrick Mining also up pre-market. We have Newmount Corporation. Man, if you follow me and you're following this playbook, you're up. We have Southern Copper Corporation. Copper took a little hit, I guess, because the threat has worn off a little bit. And then you got Tech Resources also down a little bit. Freeport McMoran down a little bit as well. Irene for some reason is down 4%. You have TMC, it's another metals company. They're pretty much flat. Wolf, let me see what IonQ is doing. IonQ's up a little bit pre-market. Yeah, quantum computing. This may not be the week for quantum computing, but it's coming. Big Bear AI. Big Bear AI also is fizzling out a little bit off of the 872 high last week. We have Ava Technologies also down. Like I said, they're fizzling out. And this wolf is remember I told you to get out of this. It's crashing. It's fell back down to reality, the 200 EMA. So it may bounce off of, actually it has bounced off of this pre-market. So this week, I think I had C3 AI, but it's, AI may fizzle out for a little bit here. I have Astra Labs, it's down. Sound is down as well. Let me see, BRN, Brain Chip Holdings is, I don't think we have any pre-market moves on that. So that's your Monday playbook. So like I said, keep your eyes on the crypto headline, the bank earnings, and the CPI coming out tomorrow. It could create some volatility in the market. So, once again, man, smash that like button. If you're holding Bitcoin at 30K, if you held Bitcoin from 30K, you got a steal. And so that's really all I have this morning. It's gonna be an exciting week. I may do a live trade session. Make sure you hit that Discord. Make sure you check out all my affiliate links in the comments below, or the the bio up above. So that's it, man. I'm Jay Reed, and this was your Market Mornings. Peace.